everyone, Kubanermani456 starting a new video, and today we are going to be talking about the Nintendo 3DS versus the Sony NGP. And we're just going to be talking about the features of the systems and like which one I think is better and the pros and cons of the systems. So yeah, let's start with the Nintendo 3DS. Now, Nintendo, this is the successor to the Nintendo DS, the DS Lite, the DSi, and DSi XL. And those systems started like it changed gaming with the technological gimmick, the touchscreen. So people thought it was like all gimmicky, and then when they finally played it, it actually worked. Like with puzzle games and all these games that really took advantage of the touchscreen. But now Nintendo is starting 3D with no glasses, and this is pretty awesome. Like, it's going to be the first device that you can take on the go that's 3D with no glasses, and it's quite an amazing little system for how small it is. It's super powerful. Some people have said that it has graphics that look better than the Wii and can actually produce low-tier Xbox 360 graphics. So that's pretty impressive for a small system like this. And another new addition with this system is the analog circle pad, which is very it's supposed to feel very nice in the hands. It's not like a full analog stick to where it's kind of sticking out, but it works just like one. And from what I've heard, it has a very good feel to it. It feels solid, unlike the Sony PSP analog thumbstick that came out. It was kind of crummy. But the new 3DS is pretty awesome. It also has the resolution of the 3D screen. It's a widescreen and has 800 by 240 pixels. And then the bottom screen is basically the same as the old Nintendo DS. Has 320 by 240 pixels. But that one is not 3D, the bottom one. But the top screen is 3.5 inches. And yeah, you can also turn the 3D off and all that stuff with the slide pad. It has the world's first 3D camera, so that's one thing to be pretty pumped about. Now, those are the pros. Now, here are some of the cons. With the Nintendo 3DS, one thing I don't like is the battery life, which is, I mean, it's kind of expected from a system this tiny with all this power, like cameras and touchscreen and 3D and all this stuff, but it only has 3 to 5 hours on full 3D, and with all the wireless connectivity on. And that's one thing that's kind of bugging me a bit, because the old DS used to have like 14 hours to sometimes 20 hours gameplay. But I think it won't be that bad to where you can actually hopefully get a little over 5 hours if you don't have the 3D turned all the way up. But yeah, it's still kind of low and disappointing compared to the previous Nintendo DS. And one other thing I don't like is how it does not have dual analog sticks, which is kind of a bummer because it's going to be pretty tough for lefties to kind of get used to it without having an analog stick. And so yeah, those are the cons to the system. The price, I think it's just right. So I'm not going to be, I wouldn't say that's a con, but I wouldn't say it's a pro, because with all the features in it, it's still good, but $250 for something still is kind of expensive for some people, and some people might not be willing to plop that money down. And another thing are the launch titles. Now, the Nintendo 3DS has amazing amount of third-party support, but the thing is, a lot of these third-party games are, to be perfectly honest, quite crappy. A lot of them are just ports from other systems, except for Super Street Fighter 4 is a port, but it has features that are unique to the 3DS, and that game's actually pretty good and has enough features to differentiate it from the other versions of the game on consoles. But the other games, like, there are not really many first-party games. Like, the only first-party games are Steel Diver, Pilot Wings, and Nintendo. And it's kind of sad to not have a Mario or even a Zelda game, especially when they're finished, but they're just holding it off. But I think Nintendo's trying to work on their third-party support, so I guess we're just going to have to deal with a few suggy games till the real games come out. But let's talk about the Sony NGP now. Now this thing is a hoss. It is an amazing beast. It's like called its code name is the NGP. It's basically like the PSP2, like a PSP2. It's called the Next Gen Portable for now though, because it's going to have next gen graphics that rival a PS3 HD, and it can produce the resolution of the screen is 960 by 544. Now that like totally beats the Nintendo 3DS, and it's got a 5-inch OLED screen, which looks amazing. It has dual analog sticks for the hardcore gamers, and has Bluetooth, 3G, and that's one thing the Nintendo DS doesn't have. It has a lot of great online features, which are very interesting, and I kind of am I'm pretty excited about it. But NGP has all this stuff, and I can't recall, it's going to have like also a pretty interesting shop for it. It can play old PS1 games, PSP games, and PS2 games, I believe. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And it played Uncharted at Sony's press conference, and that game looked amazing on the screen. It's just totally awesome. NGP also has a new gimmick with it, kind of like Nintendo's touchscreen with their DS. They have a little touchpad on the back, which is supposed to kind of follow finger gestures, kind of like a touchpad on a laptop. So that's going to be pretty interesting how people take advantage of that, like developers. And I can't wait to see what happens, because it looked pretty awesome with what they were doing with like Uncharted, like how he was like climbing up stuff with the touchpad on the back. So I'm pretty excited about that. And so yeah, let's talk about the cons for this system. And actually, I don't find many cons with this system except for battery life and probably price, because the battery life is pretty much just like the old PSP, which is 4 to 5 hours, pretty much like the Nintendo 3DS. But it's kind of be expected because it makes PS3 like graphics. And this thing also has a front facing camera and a rear facing camera, so that's another thing that'll suck up a lot of power. But what I'm concerned about is price, because with how much stuff is packed in this thing, it's more powerful than an iPad. Like, it's, I believe, 3 to 4 times more powerful than an iPad with the graphics. And it has the OLED screen, the dual analog sticks, cameras, 3G, Bluetooth, all this amazing stuff in it. You just can't help but think that this thing's going to be at least $100 more than the Nintendo 3DS. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be around $350 to $400, and that's quite a bit. Actually, that's a lot. I really love the NGP, and I'm pretty pumped about it, but that's just a bit too much for a handheld system. Like, some people aren't willing to put down that much. And I think this is one problem that Sony's had for a long time. Like, when they had released the PS3 had all this powerful stuff, and it had all these features in it, that were amazing, but it cost around $700. And nobody wanted to pay that much for something. I mean, they want a video game console to play video games, which is why I think that's one thing that's kind of flawed about the the NGP. It has all these features that it just are way too much for it. That'll increase the price. And I mean, phones already can do all this stuff that the Sony NGP is trying to add into it. So why do it? I mean, the Nintendo 3DS has a 3D camera, which is something that no other company's made yet. So that's one thing that would lead buyers into buying it, even though, I mean, it has all these features that are different from, like, that aren't, I'm trying to find a word, that don't relate to video games. But the NGP just has stuff that you can find on a regular telephone, which is pretty much what everyone has, an iPhone. So it's kind of one thing that I think will kind of hold back Sony. But which one do I think is better? Well, I actually think both systems are awesome, and I plan to get both. But to be honest, I'm a bit more excited about the Nintendo 3DS. It produces amazing graphics already. Nintendo has been known to have good first-party titles, and I think it's going to have some pretty good hardcore third-party games for the hardcore gamers and a good variety for casual gamers. While the NGP, I think it will have the same, but their games... the games are quite expensive, and the NGP is quite expensive too. And I'm more readily to put down, which I actually have, the money for a 3DS than an NGP just yet. I want to see, because I want a game system for games, not for all this stuff that I can have in a phone. I want it for games. And if an NGP isn't going to have, like, games, because I'm not just for... I don't find that graphics are the most important thing about a system, which is what people are getting into with this NGP and 3DS war. I think gameplay is what matters, and so far I've always seen that Nintendo has had the better gameplay overall, while the Sony and Xbox have had better games with shooters and stuff like that. But I don't want to just play shooters all the time. I want to play something that's also fun, like, even though Call of Duty Black Ops is a fun game, I still want to play something that's fun and that brings out the kid in me. So I'm going to say, for now, the Nintendo 3DS. I plan to get both. I'm not a Nintendo fanboy. I actually love all three companies: Xbox, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. But right now, I think I'm more excited about the 3DS, and I will be putting out more information, hopefully, about the 3DS and the NGP and what I think about them. But yeah, people don't, like, in the comments below, don't be saying hate or anything, because I'm not saying that one system is better than the other. It's just my opinion, and I'm saying that both systems are great, but right now I'm kind of leaning towards the 3DS. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you if you like the video, hit the like button. Also, if you like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later soon.